Okay, so this is a brutal game here that I had many chances to win, and I was winning for most of the game, as you can see here in the game review graph, and then I gave it away in the last second. But there were multiple chances where I had more mistakes and such. But I'm going to review it. If you know my channel, I am trying to get to 1500 before hardcore studying openings. I'm just trying to use the absolute basics of chess, which is look for checks, captures, and threats, try to control the center at the beginning, and activate your pieces. And my reasoning for that is that when I look at these game reviews, these games are not decided by these slight advantages that various masters and chess YouTubers talk about in their openings videos. They're decided by multiple blunders from each team. And you can see here that White blundered 3 times here. I blundered twice. In addition, White had 2 misses. I had 3 misses, 3 mistakes, and 5 mistakes. Inaccuracies you're going to have, right? Like, no one is stockfish. But some of these are just egregious. So if you're missing, just like missing pieces, like missing threats, and just letting pieces go, then, you know, at this stage of chess, I just don't see how improving means studying opening videos. It just doesn't make any sense to me, even though that seems to be like the vast majority of chess content out there. So here we go. It's just a matter of paying attention. And unfortunately, what I want to be doing is recording videos where I'm showing you this with wins, where I pay attention and then win. But I'm I guess proving myself right by showing you places where I could have easily just paid attention to extremely simple things. There's not just opening videos that I'm objecting to in chess learning content at this stage for people at this stage. It's also just like these videos about complex calculations and just like advanced chess concepts. It's like these games are decided by just looking at which pieces are threatening other pieces. Like the most basic things. So here we go. We're going to go into analysis and talk about the key parts of the game, even though this game is really painful. I was down to 970. I'm now down further because I lost this game. And I was playing someone at 1046, so it would have been a really good... My initial goal is to cross 1,000, which I don't think I've ever done in Rapid, or maybe I started at 1,000 right when you open the chess.com account. So it would have been a real good moral boost for me, but, you know, that's life. So I don't really know these d4 openings very well. I know that there is this concept of Queen's Gambit declined, and I think you're not supposed to take the gambit is about what I know, so I do this. It's still a book move. And then he advances, and I was like, I don't know. But I only took 7 seconds and figure, let's just pause the advancement. It turns out I should be playing b6. I'm not going to go into this kind of analysis because this is exactly what I'm trying to with my channel object to. That the difference between this and this is probably going to be some subtle thing that's going to give me like a structural advantage or something like that. And so, you know, just wait till you see what actually decided the game and how egregious those mistakes were, and you'll see what I mean. It's just a game about paying attention. So apparently this is a good move, so be it. Apparently that's a like slight inaccuracy, so be it. I believe that's because oh yeah, it's because now this pawn I could actually just straight up win. So this is probably the first place. This move, what it calls e4 is an inaccuracy, is... Well, no, that's not true. I could go here, and he can take because the queen's also guarding it. So yeah, so like, I don't know. It's inaccurate. I just wanted to put pressure and move his knight away. So he moves his knight here, which is a mistake because he should have moved his bishop. Who knows? Anyway, his pawns end up getting split, which is nice. That's probably what the mistake is. Yeah, actually, that probably is what the mistake is. And I have a nice, what is this called? A pawn chain. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. I don't see an eval bar when we're playing, right? But the eval bar suggests that I'm in good shape. Indeed. And then this is what I mean. Oh, yeah. So he has to split his pawns. This pawn of his on c5 has been under threat from my bishop the entire time. So I figure So when he moves here, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Because then the one pawn guarding his c5 pawn has to take my knight back. And then now I have a free pawn, which I don't take. Although it says completing this pawn chain is best, so be it. And he should be guarding this pawn by moving his bishop to e3 instead of he moves it one square further to f4. And so I'm just like, oh, there's a free pawn. See what I mean? Like, there's all these details about, you could study these Queen's Gambit decline videos. Everyone has one, right? If you search YouTube for Queen's Gambit decline. Also, you're playing a 1,000 rated player in a 15-10 time control game, and they're just giving you a pawn on what move are we in? Move 8. So, this is what I mean. But wait till we keep going. Okay, a bunch of good moves, moving around. That's an inaccuracy, I guess, because I should take it and let his queen advance. Again, like, I wouldn't worry about that kind of stuff. I don't worry about it. And then take. His queen moves here. This is getting somewhat interesting, where it asks you, it says, I should have actually moved my rook here. And I think that seems like kind of an advanced move, because for kind of beginners at our stage, the idea of moving the rooks off the back line this early in the game is kind of makes me nervous. So I don't think I would have ever done that. But if we just look at it for a second, it's actually not that complicated. It's just saying this pawn is this, what do they call it, an isolated pawn? It's in the middle of the board. It's being protected by one of his pieces, the bishop, and I'm also threatening it. So it's even right now. And I just add a second. And there's really no... I mean, I guess he could just do this. But that's a mistake. Why is that a mistake? Because then this pawn is open. His e3 pawn. So moving his f2 pawn, which is the only thing guarding the e3 pawn, up to now guard this isolated e5 doubled pawn. Then I just take the other one. Right? So this actually was like a pretty simple thing, but so be it. It's still pretty complex. This is the first major egregious error. I actually record videos of when I play these 15-minute games so I can see what I'm thinking, and sometimes I've posted them, although I think these recaps are probably more engaging. In this, I deliberated for a while, and I was like, oh god, he's like moving up and is going to cause pressure on my king, and he's stacking all his pieces here. And this is really bad. So I thought, like, he's bound to move one more up, right? If I just did some random thing, he's bound to just move one more up, and then what am I going to do? And so I thought, and then he could come in and start to, like, cause problems, because this queen is making it so I can't use my g7 pawn to capture anything. So actually, if we just play this out and he moves up one more, what am I going to do? I guess I would just have to do this. But then this is a little bit dangerous, right? Like, I guess he doesn't have a light squared bishop. And I should have moved up 2 squares, it's saying. But nonetheless, I was very nervous about this. So I thought, okay, I am going to block. I just gave up my knight. Again, you're studying opening videos? I gave up my knight. Why would I study opening videos when this is the kind of nonsense that I play? Because the h7 pawn was the only thing guarding my knight on g6. So when I move it up to block this future attack, I just didn't look at checks, captures, threats. Just didn't do it. And this knight is just sitting here for the taking. And you know what the best part is? He doesn't see it. Like, he doesn't see it. I love it. Watch the eval bar. It's like, oh, you gave up your knight. White is definitely winning. Oh, white didn't take it. You are back in the lead. And so then I just move my knight back. Like, this is ridiculous. This is why I hate this game. And why I keep playing, because I'm like, I'm bound to be able to just look at the pieces. At some point, I should just look, right? I'm bound to be able to learn to just look. Anyway, I had to get my queen out of danger, and this is a simple lesson, I believe, which is this was now the only thing. Again, if you're paying attention to checks, captures, threats, if you actually do it, which I'm not doing even though I'm trying to do it, you realize, oh, that was the only thing guarding this isolated pawn, which is right in the middle, and frankly, causing a lot of problems. Like, this is really annoying, right? I can't, like, get pressure on this side. It's not good. And when it moves and it's threatening my queen, I think, okay, I'll move here because I'm thinking some kind of, like, stacked action here and, like, put pressure on this guy. But this bishop is still there. So I remember during this game what I was thinking was, okay, then I'm going to move my bishop, my dark squared bishop down to e7. And then, you know, he has to exchange or something. Or if he moves, then I'm causing a lot of problems by taking his f2 pawn and the king has to run. And I could, like, cause some damage or whatever, right? Even if I actually ignored this bishop for a second. But I think a more judicious or good move is, well, that's gone now. So instead of moving the queen out of danger to f7, if I move it over here to c7, then what is he going to do? He has to guard this somehow. And so it kind of foils his plan. It like keeps that pressure on. And I think that's like proper, careful chess. Is just do the simple move. Don't try to do some fancy attacks early and hope the opponent doesn't see all these things. Like, do the simple moves and wait for their blunders. And again, you just have to, like, look at the board for this, which I'm not doing because I get tunnel vision. Okay, so let's go back. So I move here. Queen to f7. His knight, he tries to threaten the bishop. Like, again, it's like, what are you doing? You just are waiting, I guess? I don't know what this move is by him. Like, we're waiting for the opponent to just hope they don't see it, which I get. As per the thesis of my entire channel, maybe that's a good strategy because most people are going to miss stuff at some point. I don't know why that's an inaccuracy. I guess I'm supposed to just take it? No. And then this is actually another interesting suggestion by the engine. This is probably too complicated. I'm not one to sacrifice queens, but I think this is seeable. You know, when I do these analyses, what I'm thinking of, and I'm wondering if other smarter chess people than me, of which there are everyone, thinks of this as well, is like, which moves is it like, you know, that is way too complicated. There's no way I would have seen that. And which moves are like, oh man, there's obviously like the one move blunders. But here, this is interesting. Now he has two pawns just kind of hanging out by themselves. There's nothing guarding this, which I've, as per what I just said, completely lost track of that this is just hanging. And then the only thing guarding the h5 pawn is his queen. So what they're suggesting is, if I move here instead and do some queen exchange, now again, I would not have done this. I would not have done what they want, which is they want rook takes this. Why? I would have done the obvious thing and undoubled my pawns and been like, look at this! Perfect pawns! But they call this an inaccuracy because here, how is he going to guard both pawns? He's not going to. So what is the next move for him? G4. So he's going to guard this pawn, which is probably a good idea, right? Maybe open this up. But then I got a pawn. And I'm up 2. Oh, no! Oh, wow. It wants me to go even further up. Interesting. Why? And then castles. And then knight out. Oh, because the knight can come out. And so castles. Knight out. Threaten this. Then what are you going to do? Oh, threaten this. Knight out. Bishop to g3. And then what? I'm guessing, oh, a5. Okay, so this is not, yeah, this is too fancy for me. What I thought he was going to say is like, okay, do a queen exchange. Take with this. And I guess if he goes here, take the free pawn. I don't know why that's a bad idea. But anyway, I don't do that. Instead, I decide, let's bring the other rook into the game. Which is kind of funny. Like, what is this rook even going to do here? Oh, I wanted to be able to move my queen and still keep this pawn protected. Because I did. Hey, look, I'm looking at checks, captures, and threats. I know that the moment I move my queen, the queen's the only thing guarding my e6 pawn. and that's a check. And so I don't want to deal with that. And so I wanted the freedom to move this while keeping this there. I'm proud of that move, even though apparently it's an inaccuracy. Here I could also have split these pawns up. Whatever, man. I wanted to kind of keep the pressure on this side, so that's that. And then this is the miss. This whole time I'm like, once this guy moves, I have this. And what's interesting here is subtle, but I think I'm at the stage where I should be able to see this. I figure, get this now, right? Because it's also threatening my rook. So just get it back, and then I keep this threat up. But what happens is he just castles. So then that threat is completely gone. Whereas, if I had ignored this for just one move, I go here, he has to move and lose the right to castle, and then I can take it. I don't know why that's such a great move. Like, that's just like you were planning on doing it. You move your bishop down to e7 with the plan of trading these bishops off so that nothing was protecting their f2 pawn and you could cause pressure on the king. Like, they have to lose the right to castle. I don't know why that's a great move, but this is, yeah, they take it. This is starting to get to bummer time. Even though these aren't like the clear one move blunders. It's like, I was literally looking for this. So this is when it starts to get frustrating. Like, you had tunnel vision for this. The tunnel opened up. You're supposed to be looking at the tunnel. But then you get scared. That's the real reason. You got scared here. I got scared, but just count a little bit. Like, I have 4 minutes. I know I'm using way more time than him. He's moving stuff fast, which is an opportunity. If they're not hardly taking any time, 15-minute game, he has 14-16. He's just making these moves like this. They're going to make mistakes. And this is one of them. So you just had this, lose the right to castle, take the bishop. Now what are you going to do? It's saying queen moves down to e2 next to my queen. At which point I'm going to take it and there's a queen exchange. And I'm up a lot, man. Well, I guess the knight would take it. And I'm up a bunch of pawns, good pawn structure, even though we both would have 2 rooks and a knight. What a bummer. But wait, the bummers continue and get... I didn't show you the end. The bummers continue and get way better. Okay. So I take with the rook. I take his bishop back, castles. So now I'm like, well, I don't really know what to do at this point. This is one of those like, I don't know what to do things. And again, it's suggesting like, take care of these 2 things. You know, you have a good pawn chain. Why am I breaking this up? Because I just didn't know what to do. And I'm just not the type of person to offer queen exchanges. I don't know why. I guess that's a problem. But if I take this and take back, it's saying the next move is rook takes this and probably causes pressure between those. So let's just continue. So it's saying rook should take, the knight moves to e2, and I can just start taking stuff. Rook takes h5 first. So this is open. Oh. This is next level, right? This isn't just like wait for someone to blunder, although that happens again. But this is kind of like look at the structure, which I think is probably what, from my chess study, should be the next thing to kind of pay attention to. Okay, like there's no obvious move left or whatever. Like, let's just analyze the structure, its strengths and weaknesses. That's not that hard. You know? It's not talking about... I'm not talking about doing these 20 move calculations or whatever, or even 5 move calculations. He takes. Okay, I do moves there. Okay, there's a skewer if I can do this, and like these 5 things happen or whatever. It's just looking at this and saying, I have a great structure here. Like, it's going to be hard to kill this. And I have a bunch of my pieces near his king side. All of my pieces there. What is the problem? Or what is his weakness? Just look at his weakness. Well, like, this pawn is weak. Nothing is guarding it. And then as a result, this knight is kind of weak, I guess. Otherwise, like, it's kind of standard. And the queen is out hanging out by herself. Unprotected. A hanging queen. but not threatened. So it's just, again, looking at saying these are isolated pawns. The queen's the only thing guarding this. So if I just do this and move here, how do I get rid of it? How do I take advantage of these isolated pawns? Yeah. And it's not doing like fancy tactics, but now it's just like, this is a weakness in the structure. How do I put pressure on the weakness in the structure? And I think I feel more comfortable as a beginner thinking in that lens, because it avoids this thing of like these people I see in these chess videos of like Gotham chess, like analyzing, you know, Jan Nepomniachtchi versus Ding Liren, and you're just like, why did they make that move? They are so far. Don't even try. Or that's trying to be like, oh, look at the Steph Curry's move. It's like, just shoot. Just like make a basket, you know? And anyway, so it makes me feel better, just like pay attention to simple. But I don't do that. I move, I break my pawn structures. I don't know what else to do. He moves up. I take, you know, he moved. That's actually smart. And that kind of annoyed me, is like now he's controlling this, or I lose my sort of double rights control. And then he just kind of gets rid of that, which is kind of interesting. So a bunch of kind of so-so moves. Oh, this is interesting. So I figure, okay, when he moves up, I think instead of taking and then his knight comes, and then what do I have? I'm like, oh, I could cause pressure on his knight and then have a passed pawn. So at least I'm thinking somewhat structurally, and I think that's a good move by me. Does it say so? I guess. And then he moves his knight, and I'm like, hey, I'll keep putting the pressure on. And I'm getting closer and closer to... I know that I'm not going to actually promote now. He has a rook here. But then his rook... He has... we have the same, major pieces or whatever. His rook has to be tied to just guarding this square now. So then he effectively, quote-unquote, doesn't have a rook, almost, right? Like, his rook can't do anything else. And so I figure, like, great. And then this is where it gets interesting. So this technically is a blunder. It's a weird blunder. What they're suggesting, so I move here. What they're suggesting I do is move here. And that's because this queen is unguarded. So this knight basically is mine. If I had done this, right? Because what's he going to do next? He's going to move his rook over is kind of the obvious move. Otherwise, I would promote. Or I guess his queen is guarding the promotion square. And so then I can just take this. And the knight is just gone because I had two things guarding it. And this is kind of the next step that I need to be able to do, which is there's one thing guarding this. The queen is hanging. I move here. He can't move anywhere because I would just take the queen. You know, it's interesting. That's life, but it gets worse. Oh, I do end up seeing it the next move. So I'm not that horrible. When he moves to the knight here to threaten my queen more, like, see, he's just playing. Why am I losing? I lost with 1046, but he's just doing these things where it's like, I'll grab some pieces, but I'm just gonna try to hope I don't see this. I guess. Like, I don't know what the intention. I guess the intention was to grab this piece also. Yeah, it was to fork these two. But the reason this is a great move is his knight is now literally trapped. If you just look at the squares. And I did see this, and I was proud of it. He can't move up to c6. My queen's guarding it. He can't move over to b7. My rook is guarding it, and same with the square he just came from. Because I would now have double pressure on e6, right? If you move to e6, I would get this, and he can't take back because my queen's protecting that square too. And then over here, I would just take on f7. So I saw that, and I did get his knight, after all. Great. Now I'm really up. Really up. Narrator. Davis goes on to lose the game. And we'll see why. Here I had this is something that I just didn't even think about or see until much later. And when he had a chance to protect it. When you have this promotion square also, and there's only one thing, the rook, there's only one rook on the back line. You can it's just like a tactic. Like, these are the things you just learn by playing, I guess, for a while. Because if I move my rook, it's a check. He can move, but that would be stupid because I would take back. So he has to take, and then I promote. So now I still have a queen and a rook, and I just took his rook. And this is it's going to be really hard for him at this point, right? Like, I can just, you know, where is he? What is he going to do? I guess he takes this. Oh no, it's check. So he moves here. Probably I would want to move. What is he saying? Yeah, I guess a rook could just take. I could also move here, check again, and then take, and then have this be double covered. You know, what was he going to do? He can't take this. That would be a blunder. So, like, it's going to be tough. How can he guard this and guard this, and not keep his queen? The game is basically over at that point. So I had my chance, but I end up protecting my pawn instead because the queen was threatening it, and I knew this was an advantage. And yeah, here he like loses protection of this pawn, so I figure, okay, I'm just going to take his pawns now. I free up my knight because I'm like, oh, I have a useful piece over here doing nothing, and so I free up my knight. He actually should have just. This was an interesting move when he came here to check, because now if he had just moved his pawn up instead of the rook, he's actually threatening both of these pieces, and I have to move this and I lose my knight. It's actually really bad. Let's look at this. If he had done this instead, what do I do? Like, I would want to keep my rook. I guess I could check here. Is that the best move? E1. Oh my god. I would have had another I still am not seeing it. And he moves here. And then I can... Oh god. And then I can just get my knight out of the... Oh man. Oh, life is tough. Oh no, that's a mistake. I'm still not seeing it. You could have just taken this. Anyway, but wait, let's go to the end. I finally see this. He sees it too and does not take my queen. He moves his king instead. So let me just get back here. So, check. I block with the knight. Instead of moving this up and causing this problem, the rook is preventing my promotion. I finally see this concept, but he just moves his... He sees it too and he doesn't take back, so he moves his king. Good for him. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like causing problems or something. And then I take his other pawn. Oh yeah, I think that's a good move. I got that over and took a pawn, but it's a mistake, I guess, because... Yeah, so he wants me to just... The engine wants me to move here. He does this again, and then take this central pawn, which is the one that could cause problems with these two, which is probably a better pawn to take than this. And I'm threatening this. I don't know. Anyway, so I end up taking this pawn, and then he moves his pawn up. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. All these inaccuracies. This is an interesting thing that's probably too advanced. I would never have done this. This is this kind of stuff to ignore. Look at this. It's saying, oh, you should have moved your rook up here. Why? Then just sacrifice the rook? It's some fancy stuff. Watch this. This is the kind of stuff that I'm like, nope. I'm not at a state where I would ever have seen this or done it. So move the rook up. Queen takes. Then it wants me to go queen d1 check. Oh. So exchange rooks, which gives me this knight advantage. Check, he moves. H5, check again, and then take this pawn. So moves here. He has to move here. I can take the pawn. Oh, wow. Then I can promote. Oh my goodness. And then it's game over, basically. Ah! Has to move. I can take his pawn. Oh no. Yeah, see, but I wouldn't have seen this. What would I have to have seen to be able to do this? Like, look at how advanced this is. Okay. Oh, that's interesting, though. I guess it's like, look, I could explain a principle that would allow me to take this. It's like, I'm up one piece this night, and I have a pawn about to promote. So I'm actually at a decent advantage. But his major pieces are causing problems. So let's exchange them. I'm threatening his rook. So if I just give up mine, and he takes, I guess he doesn't have to take. Oh yeah, he would suggest queen c2. This is interesting. What? E1 check. That's interesting. I guess I can then check. Yeah. This E1 check and take this pawn is really interesting. Anyway, I wouldn't have done that, but here we go. Fancier things. He misses what? What does he miss? He misses the chance to just attack both of these pieces at the same time and take my knight, basically. See? Just like simple things. Like, do you need to watch chess videos to know that you're like a pawn can attack two things at the same time? I still don't see that, by the way. He does a check, which I guess is good, and I literally blunder my rook. And all I needed to do, like, I figure, I don't think I even saw this in the actual game. I didn't even see that my rook was threatened. Like, it's just like simple shit at the end that you just don't see. So he takes it. What I should have done, obviously, is just moved it down because the queen was protecting d1. Okay, so this is like where the game starts to turn, but I still have a massive, massive opportunity. I do a check. I'm looking at checks, captures, threats, apparently, kind of. And then he... What is this blunder? King f1. Yeah, I basically could have just taken this and checked back. But instead, I took by the knight, which is a key part of the game. When I take with the knight, I take this pawn and threaten his queen. What does he do? He takes my pawn. That means he leaves his queen hanging. I could literally have taken his queen. I give a check. He takes my knight, I take his rook. I don't know why that's a great move. It was an obvious move. And now we both have queens. I have 3 pawns and he has 2, and I make some more mistakes to lose the game. But the point is, at some point, he literally hung his queen. I could have exchanged a queen for a knight. Boom. He takes. You have a rook. My king is protected. And what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna move your rook here? Right? So I can just move here. And then what? Why is that an inaccuracy? I don't know. But what's he gonna do? You know? I'm just gonna promote. And then the end game is just I move my pawn up, and there's 2 pawns in the same place. He moves his queen. I can't protect both things at the same time, and I lose a pawn. And then I end up hanging my own queen at some point, just really giving it up. There you go. He takes my queen, and I resign. But I was up most of the time, and this is why I kind of hate chess. But this is also why I keep playing, because I've convinced myself all I need to do is play some games where I just see all of the threats and see all of the captures and don't make boneheaded mistakes. If you're at a lower rating than this, you're seeing, like, if you're not at 1,000 and 1,000 seems high to you, it's like 1,000 rated players are just giving up pieces. You just have to, it's just focus. Just pay attention to all the checks, captures, and threats at all points in the games. You don't need to think about fancy things.